Hey, hello. Hi there. I see we have a few viewers. So let me start while people are joining by telling who I am and what we will be doing today. So my name is Ilka Schaap, and I am the owner and teacher of Clear Dutch, a online language school. And I make YouTube videos, as you might already know, about Dutch grammar, which I explain most of the times in English because I think it is important to understand the grammar rules well, and then you can try to try to use them. So today we will be talking, or I will be talking, about the most basic rules about Dutch word order, which is one of the most complex grammar topics of the Dutch language. Um, so, if you are already familiar with some of them, that's okay. It's always good to repeat if everything is new for you. So, if this is the first thing you do with Dutch, it might be a bit hard, but still, it's good to watch, and you can rewatch it later. Also, if you missed a part, so then you'll get to practice anyway. Good. I was just wondering, maybe we can, because I'm not so used to this live stream, maybe you guys can let me know who is in there in the live chat. The chat's also there to let me know that I'm going too fast or too slow if you need any explanations. Um, so maybe you can tell me who is there and if you can hear me, if everything is working fine, so I know that I can get started with the explanation. I see there are 4 people watching. There's a bit of a delay, so maybe you guys can let me know in the live chat if everything is working well so that we can get started with the explanation. Oh, okay. Let me see. You cannot hear me. Okay. Oh, you can. All right. Oh, so someone can't and someone can. Then I think it's not a problem on my side, but not sure how to fix it though. Oh, okay. Good, great. All right, let's get started. Nice to know that you are out there. I will start with the very, very basics of the Dutch sentence. So, the standard sentence in Dutch has this order. It has a subject, a verb, and any rest information, but at least a subject and a verb. If you don't know what a subject is, I have another video on this, so you can look on my channel. And I will just give you some example sentences. If you have a subject and a verb, then officially you already have a sentence. But most of the time there is a rest because ik drink, I drink. It's rather short, right? Doesn't give so much info. So, for example, you can make a sentence like this: Maria drinkt koffie. So the subject is the one who does the action. So in this case, it is Maria. The verb is the action of the sentence. So what does Maria do? Drinkt. She drinks, so this is the verb. And then there is a rest, coffee. But this can be all kinds of things, as you can see in the next sentences. Mijn broer werkt in Amsterdam. Mijn broer is the subject. Werkt is the verb because that's the action, the thing he does. And in Amsterdam is rest. A rest can be like here, a place. It can be a time. Those two you use a lot. It can be an object like coffee. It can be something, or with whom, or how. So there can be many rest items. Like here we have a time as a rest item. In the middag, in the afternoon. Ik werk in de middag. I is the subject. Werk is the verb. In de middag is the rest. And the last example, here you have several rest items. So as you can see, it's not just one item. Very often people like to give more information. So then you have a sentence like this. Wij, subject, eten, verb, vandaag, rest item 1, samen, which means together, rest item 2, and in a restaurant is the third rest item. So that's the place. Now let's give this some color so you can also recognize in the future easily when making exercises. So now you have one verb, but you know perhaps already that it's also possible to make a sentence with two verbs. So if you're a complete beginner, you're probably making sentences with only one verb, but very soon you will know that it's also possible with two verbs. In that case, the second verb goes after the rest. So this is different from English or many other languages. So the second verb goes at the end of your sentence. So how can we make a sentence with two verbs? Usually you will be using a model verb. We have only 5 in Dutch. They express whether you want something, whether you can do something, you are allowed, or you have to, or you will do something. So this model verb is then the first verb. That's the first one you'll be using. The second verb is the verb that expresses the action. So, for example, drinken. The first verb is always conjugated. I have another video about this on how to make the root, and then after that you can add a T, etc. So this is a different topic. So I'm assuming you already know how to do this. So for verb 1 is the verb that is conjugated, which means that it matches, the form matches with the subject. Verb 2, on the other hand, is put in the full form with ending with en mostly at the end. So let's have a look. Oh yeah, you can also make instead of a model verb, you can use gaan to make the future as a first verb. Let's have a look. Maria wil koffie drinken. So you can see wil is a model verb. It's matching with the subject, Maria. And the second verb, drinken, is at the end in the full form, the infinitive, so-called infinitive, the way you will find it in the dictionary. So usually for most verbs, this is with en at the end. Let's have another example here. Mijn broer moet in Amsterdam werken. My brother has to work in Amsterdam. As you can hear, in English, they put has to work. They put all the verbs together and all the rest items at the end. But we don't. We put, very typical for the Dutch language, we put the rest items in the middle between the two verbs, splitting them up with the second verb at the end. So my brother has to work in Amsterdam. Ik kan in de middag werken. I can work in the afternoon. No problem, I can do that. Wij gaan vandaag samen in een restaurant eten. So now you might be wondering how to order all the different rest items, right? So there is in most books this instruction that we will look at now. Oh, wait, I had something else in mind. So you can see here, vandaag, which means today, which is a time. You have also a place in a restaurant. And there is something about with whom you are doing this action of going to eat. So you're doing it together. So in the most books, you will find something like this, TMP, which stands for time, as we see here, which comes first, mode, together, and place, in a restaurant. Now this is really to start with. There are also other kind of rest items. Whenever you learn about negation, for example, you have to learn where to put it. When you're learning about reflexive verbs, you'll learn where to put reflexive pronouns. So for each new grammar topic, there may be another rest item that you'll have to fit in somewhere, but you'll learn it whenever you learn that topic, right? So instead of mode is explaining how you do something. So maybe you do it quickly or in the middle between time and place. You can also have some other things like with whom. There can be objects. There can be several things. But for now, I would say that it is safest if you look at all your rest items. See if you have a time indication, so like vandaag or nu om 3 uur in januari, that kind of things. That one should go at the beginning of the rest. That one should go first out of all the rest items. If there is a place, that one usually goes at the end of your rest. So in this case, in a restaurant. All right. So, do you have any questions so far? Of course, you can always send a question in the chat. So these are really the basics for the standard sentence. Of course, we also have other options. So sometimes we're a bit flexible, but you still have to follow the rules. So then we'll get to the second part, which I will be sharing with you now. Just a second, which is about inversion. Who of you have already heard about inversion? Is this completely new, or is this kind of familiar, or do you already know that for a long time? Let me know in the chat. I'm very curious to know who already knows about inversion. Also, if you are completely new, okay, so someone already knows about it, that's good. If you are a complete beginner and you're watching this, then this might already be a lot of information. So it might not be a bad thing to keep that in mind before you continue. I would recommend to do one step at a time and not get too much info all at once. So you may leave if you want, but you can always rewatch it later for the rest, because it's quite a lot to handle, I'd say. A little bit. Okay, good. So now we are getting into detail about inversion. Let me share this presentation I have about inversion. No, that's not the right one. Sorry. Just a moment. Here. All right. So, here we have a normale zin, a normal sentence, with quite a lot of rest items, like the one we saw before. Before we get started with the inversion, I'd like to challenge you guys to tell me, what do you think is the subject of this sentence? So this is always important to know these grammar terms when you're starting to learn about word order. The subject is usually the person, but it can be an animal or thing who does the action, who is like the main person in this sentence. So if you look at this sentence, I think we have a little bit of delay. Yes, I see already the correct answer. Okay. I see someone says, ik wil leren schrijven. Kun jij? And then I don't understand what he says after. Okay, so I see someone is getting ahead already. So ik is the subject, that is correct. And how many verbs does this sentence have? So how many verbs do you see? All right. Yes. Ja, heel goed. So we have two verbs. One is the helping verb, which helps to make the future tense. Gaan. It is in the form for ik. Ik ga. I'm going to. And winkelen is the second verb, which is all the way at the end. I'm going to shop. In the full form. Now we have three rest items. Op zaterdag, met mijn zus en in Amsterdam. So we have a time, we have a mode or company in this case, and we have a place. So the time at the beginning of the rest, the place at the end of the rest. Good. Now, if we want to start with the time or with something else, some rest item, that is allowed. But you'll get yourself into inversion. Why would you do this? Well, most people naturally want to do this, but they probably don't know why. The reason why we would start with something else is that we consider that part important. So if you're saying, I'm going shopping on Saturday, then you can take on Saturday to the beginning. On Saturday, I'm going shopping, because apparently on Saturday is important. So you can take it to the front, to the beginning of your sentence. And you can do the same in Dutch. But you'll have to change a little bit. Yeah, I had some nice coloring here for the verbs and of course all this. So if you want to do that, then you'll have to invert. Invert means to swap or switch two things. In the case of Dutch grammar, inversion means that you invert the first verb and the subject. So we're going to do that. So ga goes before ik. So in the normal sentence you say I go, but if you decide to start with something else than the subject, any rest item, then you'll have to invert and put ga before ik. The verb, the first verb before the subject. So the rest of the sentence stays the same. So you still have met mijn zus in Amsterdam winkelen. This doesn't change at all. You don't have to apply a different logic all at once. The only thing that actually moves when you want to start with op zaterdag is the word ga. That's the only one moving, aside from op zaterdag, of course. Yeah, but that's your choice. So you can do this with op zaterdag, but actually you can also do this with in Amsterdam ga ik op zaterdag met mijn zus winkelen. Or less common even, met mijn zus ga ik op zaterdag in Amsterdam winkelen. So these are all correct options. You can have a look now. I have it on the screen. In Amsterdam ga ik op zaterdag met mijn zus winkelen. Met mijn zus, less common but still possible, ga ik op zaterdag in Amsterdam winkelen. So this is basically, the logic of inversion. But I saw someone, Ranoda, I saw you making a question, and that's actually good to mention as well. So we've been talking until now about affirmative sentences. So you say something, but you can also make a question, of course. Question either starts with a question word like waar, hoe, wat, waarom, etc. Or you can start a question immediately with the verb. And in questions, you also always have inversion. So this is one other case in which you also use inversion. So I see your sentence, Ranoda. Ga ik op zaterdag met mijn zus in Amsterdam winkelen? So then you need a question mark. That's the correct sentence. Yes, very nice. Well done. So you use inversion in two cases, just to have an overview. In a question, or when you start with a rest item, or with anything that is not the subject. So that's the logic of inversion. So now we want to practice, right? But let's first have a look if anybody has any questions. Let me know in the chat. More examples. All right. Let me open another file so I can write something. Actually, I think it might be a good idea. Let me see. I will get to the more examples. I will remember to provide them. Not yet. Can you write down the sentence structures? Yes, more examples. Okay. All right. So I actually made a document that you can download from my website with some exercises so that we can see if you are understanding it. You have to put the words in the correct order, translate the sentences. I have some explanations also, the ones we've seen so far, and even about bijzinnen, but this is really more advanced. So that one is at the end of the document. So maybe we can have a look at that. Let me just guide you to my website. Let me see, just a second. Delen. Let me share the correct one. Oh yeah, here. Here it is. Okay, so this is my website. It says cleardutch.weebly.com, but you can just go to cleardutch.nl. I'll be showing it on the screen as well. And then you can go to books and more. Books and more. So you see, I also have some other materials, but if you scroll down, there is free materials. This is also where whenever I upload a YouTube video and I refer to download a document from my website, you can always find it here. And you can also find the links to the videos for my YouTube channel on this webpage. It works two ways. So if you scroll down a little bit on the free materials page, you will find grammar, word order, and then the worksheet for the live stream. And there you can click on the word document and it will open the Google Docs sheet. Did you guys find it? Oh, maybe I'll share it again. So you'll be finding this worksheet on the website. Let me know if you found it. Then we can work with this, creating sentences. Did you guys find it? Okay. At least someone did. Okay. I'll also be sharing it here, but I think it might be nice for you to have it also afterwards and work with it. So the idea is that you put the sentences in the correct order. The orange word is the subject, so I have already given you that. If you are a complete beginner, I would say make the sentence starting with the subject in the normal standard word order sentence. If you want to challenge yourself, you'll do both. So one time you make the sentence starting with the subject, and one time you'll make the sentence starting with the underlined word. So with inversion, that means you'll have to invert the subject and verb one. I see someone is asking, Claude is asking, then where? So books and more, and then free materials. If you scroll down, there is grammar, and it says worksheet live stream. Did you find it, Claude? I hope you did. Okay, great. So I want everybody to take some time to think about this. So I think it's best you first write it down for yourself and not immediately in the live chat. So I'll give you guys some time. Otherwise, you can, steal each other's answers. So I'll have these 7 sentences, and you can take like 5 minutes to do so. So if you're more advanced and you want to challenge yourself, then you start with the underlined word. Beginners start with the subject, which is orange. Success! Oh, and let me know when you're done. So in request, Fun had a request. Can you write down the sentence structure? So I wrote it down in the chat. I see someone is done already. So the one I wrote down in the chat is the normal sentence. So this is always your starting point. So, how I'd like to do the correcting of the exercise. Well, I was thinking maybe Ranoda can give the answer for the first sentence in the chat, and then whoever finishes after that will do number 2, etc. So let me know what your answers were. I'm curious to know which sentences you guys made, so we can learn from each other. Don't feel shy. Making mistakes is the way to learn, I'd say. Let me see. Vandaag gaan jullie veel nieuwe woorden leren. Correct, that's the one with inversion. Heel goed, Ranoda. Who's next? So you can make the sentence with inversions. Write it starting with the underlined word, or you can make the sentence starting with the subject. That's both okay. With the standard word order. Just tell me what you got. Okay, maybe I better just read out the correct answers. Yeah? Okay, fine. So the first sentence can be either jullie gaan vandaag veel nieuwe woorden leren, or vandaag gaan jullie veel nieuwe woorden leren. Number 2, without inversion. Ah, there it comes. Paul gaat altijd naar Schiphol met de taxi. It's allowed. Sometimes we're a bit flexible, but if you follow the standard rules, then you would say Paul gaat altijd met de taxi naar Schiphol, because naar Schiphol is the place, so that one usually goes after at the end of the rest. Naar Schiphol gaat Paul altijd met de taxi. Prima. Ja, goed. Oké, nummer 3. So you can start with we. Anyone? I guess I'll read them out because I think the chat has a big delay. Oké, we beginnen morgen met de tweede fase van het project. We beginnen morgen met de tweede fase van het project. Or you can say morgen at the beginning and have inversion. Morgen beginnen we met de tweede fase van het project. Which means tomorrow we're starting with the second phase of the project. Oké, nummer 4. Wij zoeken een Wij zoeken per direct een schoonmaakster met veel ervaring. Per direct is as of today, immediately. So this is the time. So this one goes at the beginning of the rest. You can make it with inversion. Per direct zoeken wij een schoonmaakster met veel ervaring. So this means as of today we are looking for a cleaner with a lot of experience. If you're a beginner, I think there might be some difficult words in here, but yeah, don't let you get distracted by that. You can always look them up if you don't know them. Tim ziet een mooi huis bij de rivier. Bij de rivier means at the river, so this is the place. It goes at the end. If you make it with inversion, bij de rivier ziet Tim een mooi huis. Heel goed, Renata. Ja. Ik heb altijd problemen met deze laptop. Or starting with met de laptop. Met deze laptop heb ik altijd problemen. Altijd is the time, so goes at the beginning of your rest. En de laatste. Hij moet vanaf nu zijn hond op een andere plek uitlaten. So this means he has to let the dog out, starting from now, in another place. So we have a first verb, moet, and we have a second verb, uitlaten, which means let out, let the dog out, walk the dog, however you want to say it. Vanaf nu means starting from now, which is the time. So that one goes at the beginning of the rest. And op een andere plek means in another place. So obviously this is the place. And it goes at the end of the rest. But before uitlaten. Hij moet vanaf nu zijn hond op een andere plek uitlaten. And if you make it with inversion, starting with vanaf nu moet hij zijn hond op een andere plek uitlaten. So, how did you guys do? Just let me know if you did it. Oh ja, vanaf nu moet hij. Ja, heel goed, Cam. Ja, prima. Very nice. Okay, as you scroll down the document, there's a few more exercises, but I think I will just add the answers here so you can do them by yourself, because I also wanted to get into two mistakes. Okay. All right, not too bad. So I wanted to give you a little idea of what else you can expect when we're talking about word order, and what you have to pay attention to when you're trying to make sentences that are maybe a little bit too difficult. So as you've seen, we know now how to make a sentence with one verb. you know how to make a sentence with two verbs, even with inversion. But as soon as you are going to make a sentence in which you have two verbs, and the first verb is another one, so not one of the modal verbs or the verb gaan, then you probably actually have two sentences, right? So if you want to make a sentence with two verbs, then and the first verb is not a modal verb or gaan, then you might have to use different structures that you have not learned so far. So maybe you have already seen them before, sentences with te or om te, or sentences that are a bit more complex, even with dat, omdat, anything like that. So that causes a whole different change of about which I can talk another workshop long. So I would say if you have a sentence like that you want to say, then you better just say two separate sentences. It's good if you want to be able to speak quickly to simplify your language for now. Unless you're ready for the next step and this is already easy, then of course go ahead. But one step at a time, I think, is best. There's also another thing at this level that you will have to learn. And I will share with you again one more screen, just a second, that we can have a look at, which is about giving your opinion. And this is one that you will need in the inburgeringsexamen. So this one occurs a lot there. And in English, it's very easy to say, to give your opinion or to say what you like, right? For saying what you like, you don't follow really the rules that we just learned. I will give you these specific structures for giving your opinion or saying, I like this, I like that, I don't like this, I don't like that. In English, you would just say, I like pizza. End of story. That's very simple. Unfortunately, it's not that simple in Dutch. And there are actually three ways to say I like. So you can find them here. The first one is vinden. And vinden has its own structure. The second one is houden van, always with van. That one has its own structure. And the third option is graag. Okay, I'll get into each of them now. So the structure is here. Subject, then vinden, but you have to conjugate it, so it has to match with the subject, with the person. So you have subject, the conjugated form of vinden, then the thing you like, and then an adjective. An adjective are words like leuk, mooi, lekker, interessant, etc. So this is like the value, what you think of it. So actually, whereas where in English you're saying, I like, we actually say, I find pizza delicious. So if you're talking about food, you'll have to use lekker, which is delicious or tasty. If you're talking about how something looks, like a dress, for example, or a shirt, ik vind het t-shirt mooi. You'll have to say beautiful. I find the t-shirt beautiful. So this is literally what we're saying. So you'll have to choose an adjective, but the standard is leuk. So you can say, ik vind dansen leuk. Hij vindt de boeken interessant. Wij vinden de film mooi. Mijn katten vinden kip lekker. So these are just some examples. So my cats find chicken delicious. For sentences with vinden. Is this clear so far for the vinden part, at least? Maybe you guys have seen it before, maybe not. But this is really necessary to know if you want to do the A2 speaking exam. Okay, goed. Another option to say I like, or even stronger, I love something, I'm really fond of it, is using the structure houden van. Here the verb is houden. Van is a preposition. Prepositions are those short words like van, in, op, naar. And this verb only means to like or to love if you use it together with van. So if you don't use van, it means to keep. So if you say ik houd van kip, then it means I like or I love and fond of chicken. If you say ik houd kip, it means I keep chickens. So I'm I'm keeping them or I'm having them. So it's different meaning. So you need the word van always with this meaning of houden. So the structure is subject, the conjugated form of houden that matches with the subject, van, and then the thing you like. This can be a thing like kip, or it can be a verb like zwemmen, to swim. I like swimming or I like chicken. So it can be an action or a thing that you like. So I'll just read out the example sentences. Ik houd van olijven. I really like olives. Mijn vader houdt van voetballen. My father likes playing football. There's not really a verb, I guess, footballing in English. But in Dutch we do have voetballen as a verb. Wij houden van Nederlandse muziek. We like or love Dutch music. Be careful if you are putting a person here in the last place. If you say a name or a person, then it actually really always means to love in a romantic way. So if you say wij houden van, well, usually it's not wij, ik hou van Maria, then you're saying you love her for real. So be careful with putting names or people there. If you put a thing or an action, then it can mean either to like or to love. Maybe it's a bit stronger than to like, but something in between there. Okay, good. Now I would like to challenge you guys. If you want to transform one of the sentences you see above with vinden, ik vind dansen leuk, and you want to make that one instead of with vinden with houden van, how would you do that? Maybe each of you can do one sentence. Ik vind dansen leuk. Hij vindt de boeken interessant. Of course, you're a bit more limited because you can't put a value like interesting. You just can say I love or I like it. That's why the vinden structure is, I think, very nice because you have more options. So how would you say I love dancing with the houden van structure? Anybody? Oh, I see here I don't have the update. Ik hou van dansen. Yeah, it's a very nice thing that you guys have different answers, because these are actually both correct. Houden is one of very few words, houden, rijden, snijden, which for first person is allowed with or without the. So it's a very special case, I'd say. So ik houd van dansen with the or without. Ik hou van dansen, they mean exact same thing. So you can use them both. Yeah, and your sentences are correct. Heel goed. Okay, let's get to the last part of today. It's almost time already as well. So I was planning for 1 hour. And that is the one about graag. Now you also see some with liever and het liefst. For now I want to stick to graag only. Which I think is a bit more difficult to use than the other two. But we still use all three of these options regularly. So yeah, you're going to need all of them eventually. So the thing here is that you're going to need to choose a verb, right? So if you have a sentence like ik hou van dansen, I like dancing, then it's pretty clear what the verb is, right? So ik dans graag. Then I think it's pretty doable. You start with the subject, then the verb of your action, and then you use graag. But what about the chicken? If you like chicken, ik vind kip lekker, of ik houd van kip. Now, if you want to make the version with graag, you'll have to think, what do I do with chicken? Well, usually you eat it, right? You like to eat it. So, unless you have it as a pet, but then it's a different story. So, I'm assuming you like to eat it. So then you would say, you would use the verb eten. Ik eet graag kip. The kip goes at the end, right? So the graag is after the verb. Subject, verb, graag. Like, let me just read the examples. Ik lees graag. I like to read. If you generally like to read. You can also make it more specific. Ik lees graag detectives. I like to read detectives. Then the thing, detectives, go at the end. Second one, hij eet graag pizza. He likes to eat pizza. So you're going to need to think of a verb. If you really, really don't have a verb, you could use the standard hebben. I rather have, you can, or like to have this or that, but if there is a verb, you better use it. That sounds the most natural. Sorry, can you repeat the sentence structures met graag? Okay, so the sentence structure with graag is subject. So for example, ik. Then a verb, it has to match with the subject as always, but you have to choose your own verb. It's about the action that you do with the thing. And then graag, and then any other things you have. So subject, verb, graag. Most of the time people start with this, they say what they like themselves. So I usually tell my students, ik, verb, graag. Put it in the chat. Ik, verb, graag. If you put this in your head, then probably things will go right. So means other stuff. So the thing you like to do. So what about, let's give you an example so you can practice a bit. What about movies? I like movies. How would you say that? But with graag. Of course, the meaning changes a little bit because there will be a verb in it. How do you say that? Let me just keep an eye on this chat as well because I think it's more up to date. So how to make a sentence with graag about movies when you like movies. Or if you don't know how to say movies, you can say films or music. Inderdaad, ja, dat klopt. Films is the correct Dutch word. Ja, ik kijk graag films. Prima. Yes. So that is the way to do it. Of course, then it means I like to watch movies. So the meaning is slightly different from ik hou van films. I like movies. So that is the difference with graag. You need a verb. There's always an action involved. So, hey, I see someone is saying hi, but we are already rounding up. So I wanted to end with you guys telling me what you like to do, maybe about your hobbies. You can make one sentence in the chat about with each structure. So with one with graag, one with houden van, and one with vinden. Here are the structures. Ah, Afrikaans. Oh yeah. Afrikaans is a language that may have similar words, but I guess the grammar is quite different. So, last exercise. Tell me, guys, in the chat. Hi, Vidya is here. Nice. Yeah, and movies would be films in Dutch. Zij vinden wandelen leuk. Mooi. Perfect. Dit gaat goed. So now you're making your sentences about your hobbies. I would like to take the time to refer you to my group course free trial lesson I have next week on Tuesday at 1 o'clock about sentence building. We'll be with a small group, maximum of 4 or 5 people. And each of you will get to work in their own Google Docs sheet. Next week is a free trial lesson. You can sign up on my website, cleardutch.nl. So if you're interested, you can find it there. Ik vind pasta lekker. And that's really practicing this kind of things, like making sentences first a bit structured, like putting things in the correct order, and then more freely and your own sentences. So this is always the structure of this course. Let me see what else. There's a lot more coming. Good. Ik hou van tennissen. Ja, double S. Tennissen. Ik kijk graag films. Heel goed, Cam. Ja, prima. Marco, ik en mijn familie kijken graag films in onze vrije tijd. Sparen would be like to save money. So, vrije tijd. Let me write it. Vrije tijd. And very good. Actually, you have a very long subject. So, ik en mijn familie here is the subject. Very nice. Can this video or lesson uploaded? Yeah, this will be uploaded automatically actually on YouTube as a video to watch later. Ik houd van drijvend grote vrachtwagens. You like big floating trucks. Why not? Yeah, okay. I like your humor. So drijvend would be drijvende. This is a very complex rule. It's because of de and het things. Vrachtwagens is plural, therefore is de. That's also why you have grote, but if this is completely new, just forget about it. And let me see. Any more? Okay. I'll just do one more sentence for each of you, and then I think we'll be done. I see houden van. I see graag. Oh yeah, Cam already has all of them. Ze vinden wandelen leuk. Ja, dat is vinden. So I hope if I do a live stream again, there will not be so much delay in the chat, because now I don't know if you guys have any more sentences. So we're about to close the live stream. And well, if I missed any of your final sentences, I see one more. Ik en mijn dochter vinden buitenspelen erg mooi. Okay, nice. Yeah, find a small letter, I guess. Mooi would be like beautiful, so you can find it a beautiful thing. Yeah, why not? The standard would be leuk, but mooi, yeah, it sounds slightly poetic. Yeah. Okay, so if you have any questions or if I forgot any of your sentences, you can just I don't know, maybe this will appear as comments below. I'm not sure. But you can leave a comment below the video of this live stream or just send me a message on info@cleardutch.nl. And I hope we can do this again and that you liked it. And I wish you good luck, veel succes. Doei doei!